Yeah, you can take it. Sure. Yes. I still don't understand why you're not flying, but okay.
How do I get back to you guys?
Back.
And so was Gaius.
Try 3 fingers and go back to the screen.
Do I have to exit out, or is it going to give me that?
Oh, no, it's fine. Be safe.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
All right.
Do that echoing thing, right?
See you later.
You probably will. So you probably want to take the YouTube tab off.
X them all out.
Yes.
You all right, friend?
Oh, and Shania, you should be able to change your name now.
Anita,
Yes.
how about my mom and dad are driving from Philly to Florida tomorrow? Why? They are too damn old for that shit.
All right. Okay, are we live streaming? I guess we'll talk about this.
You're
later.
alive.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
We'll talk. I'll text you.
Sorry, Char.
Mom and dad may have heard that.
I mean, they probably have heard it already, but
All right. So Tobias, what link are we giving? Can we
The one that it gave me was the YouTube link, which I put that in the chat.
Oh, okay. Kennery, you got it?
Where is it at?
In the chat.
Oh, okay. Yes, thank you.
Okay. And if anybody wants to share it, it's on my page. I'm talking, Lord have mercy. Look, okay, let's see. I have to get used to this.
on your Facebook page, Char.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Ooh, oh, so sorry.
So waiting for Will.
Just sent a text message.
Okay.
Say he didn't get the Zoom link.
Hmm?
Is this old? Oh, he said he didn't get the Zoom link.
I sent it in the an email. He was copied in the email that you were in.
Yeah, you should text him.
Do you see his name in it?
I'm on it right now. Will group, yeah. Two.
The Will is, yeah. Oh, there he is. Okay.
I don't think it was done.
How's everybody doing? How was your day?
Oh, excuse me.
Bless you.
Woof. Very busy. A lot going on, but it's all good.
Yeah. Oh, I appreciate you all being here.
Absolutely. This is, I think we need this.
Exactly.
So your guys were stuck out of town?
Yes.
Wow. I hope they get home safely.
What
What are their names so we can give them a shout out?
One was stuck out of town at the airport, and the other one, someone had COVID, so they had to go in and fill the spot.
I know how that is.
Yeah.
Good old.
Acting
Here's
like
Will. Hello.
Hey, Will.
Welcome. So as you all know, Rick and Kevin aren't able to be here. So Kennery and Will jumped in at the last minute. Appreciate you guys for being here. And thank you, Tobias, for all the work you're doing for us behind the scenes.
yes,
Keeping us together.
Thank you, Tobias.
And Rev, Shania, thank you for being here.
That water looks so good. Will, can you just can you give me some water through the screen?
You all got drinks? You need to get your drinks?
I'm not being a prophet these days, so I don't flick holy water.
Man, you need to be selling that water right now, the way how thirsty I am right now.
Shania, meet Will. Will, meet Shania.
Hello. How is you?
I am yet holding on.
Well,
you better yet hold on.
All right. Well, it seems like we're all set to go. I'm I'm gonna make sure that I don't end it hitting buttons.
Kennery, is that your real background? I don't think it is. It looks real.
Yes,
Shania?
yes.
That's
it
your
is.
real background?
Well, it's actually part of my studio, but it's not looking that neat right now.
Oh, so that is a real picture.
Yes.
Okay. That's a nice way of, okay. Oh,
Nita,
maybe
you're
I should
looking
take a
for Tina
picture of
S.
my house and when it's neat and then put it in.
Exactly.
I like that.
Nita,
Uh-huh.
you look like you're coming from a show. Did you have a show today?
No, I play in makeup all the time.
Yes, I understand this.
So I'm working on a white eyeliner look and I was trying to take it off, but the lashes that I have on won't allow me to do it. I didn't have enough time.
I love it. You look amazing.
Thank you.
Yes.
I appreciate it. Yeah, so I'm definitely going to be playing the eyeliner, definitely eyeliner colors for spring and summer. Aren't we excited?
Yes.
Thanks, Char. I'm glad you are. Somebody's excited.
I'm excited. I don't know about the rest of them.
I know all the masculine energies on this call. They're like, okay, whatever.
Hey, if you like it, I love it.
Okay. Well, can we
It's just me and
say,
Char.
I want to say welcome to, oops, I got to turn this off. Kennery just had surgery and we're so happy to see him up and about.
Yay.
Doing well.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Glad to see.
All
Glad
right.
to see his beard is doing well too. That's good.
Yes, it survived also.
Yes. All right.
You would have been mad if you woke up and they cut your beard.
Oh my God, man.
Like I'm dark. I need to turn on some lights. I'm in the dark.
I'm CHAR. I am a loving, passionate, and creative human being indigenous to the exotic island of Jamaica, West Indies. My name was handpicked by the divine, for I am the quintessence of its core meaning: singer, song, delight. The ultimate purpose of my platform is to transform lives by empowering people to embrace the greatness within and impact the world for the better. Anita Levels, a lover of communication and thought, a vocal artist, voice influencer, songwriter, and producer who began singing at the age of 3 years old in Frankfurt, West Germany. Her powerhouse, soulful but lark-like vocals have graced national and international audiences. Anita's more recent venture is Corn and Potatoes Are Good For You, a podcast exploring the soul's journey through all things spiritual and sensual. Anita believes that instrumentation and the voice have the innate ability to vibrate truth, healing, and thought. Will Howard, versatility, passion, and creativity are words that describe bassist, composer, producer.
He's looking into my
Howard.
soul.
Chicago-based but nationally and internationally seasoned
Feel like
bassist.
Suge Knight. And I
Wilson
think,
combination of gospel roots, formal study, and wide-ranging musical interests that
Dang,
allow
Will.
him to work with a wide variety of artists. Jazz and commercial
Right.
music major and minored in philosophy at Roosevelt University.
Somebody
He
put
brings
roots on
his
me.
life experiences to the discussion as a source of empowerment. Shania D. Leonard is a 21st century abolitionist. Shania has been a minister for over 14 years. They currently
years.
carry out their justice mandate as the National Associate for Gender and Racial Justice and is an often sought-after workshop leader, keynote speaker, preacher, and writer. Shania believes that God has given them a burden for people whom others have disregarded, oppressed, forgotten, or simply don't even see. They live their life by Micah 6:8 and the mantra, which states, "It is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. We must love one and protect one another. We have nothing to lose, but our chains.
Okay. I never
Kennedy
heard that.
Kent Smith grew up in a city that has seemingly produced more successful low-end groove makers per capita than any city in the world. Kennedy has worked hard to become one of Chicago's best. A 25-year music industry veteran, Kennedy is part of a rich tradition of world-class Chicago bassists. His performance resume showcases the Chi-Town musical trademarks of talent, hustle, and versatility to work in any musical genre.
I feel important. Wow.
You are important.
Viola Davis and Michelle Obama are among the big names who are sending love to 4-year-old Ariana after a video went viral last week of her calling herself ugly on camera. It happened while she was getting her hair styled by Shabria Redmond.
For real, like, I'm not even playing with you. I don't even like kids.
I'm so ugly. What?
Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that. You are so pretty. You all shut up. Go in the room. When you look at yourself, you supposed to say, I'm so pretty. You are so pretty. Do you hear me? You got the prettiest little dimples. You are too cute. Oh, you don't make me cry. You're not ugly. Baby girl. Oh my God. Ariana. You're not ugly. You got two. Let me see you smile. Let me see. You got two dimples. I don't even have two dimples. Girl, let me see your teeth. Look at them pretty white teeth. No, you're not gonna cry. You are a beautiful little girl and you are pretty. You are the prettiest girl in your class. Boom. Tell them straight up. When you go to school tomorrow, you got your hair done. You're gonna be like, oh, look at my hair. Oh, look at my shoes. Look at my clothes, baby girl. You are beautiful. Black is beautiful. And if don't nobody ever tell you, I will tell you, you are gorgeous.
Okay, so Michelle Obama reposted this yesterday, adding, Ariana, you are gorgeous. In a world that sometimes tries to say otherwise, I want to tell you and every other beautiful, intelligent, brave black girl just how precious you are. Hashtag Black Girl Magic.
And Viola Davis wrote, we are fighting hundreds of years of brutal conditioning of being considered less than. It is sprinkled in our language, behavior, laws, music, etc., and trickles down to our youth. I'm speaking life into Ariana. From a sister who looks a lot like you, you were born worthy, therefore you were born beautiful. Yeah, I do love in that video how much Shabria, is it?
Yeah.
Is like putting that positive energy into her.
And yeah, that's a hairstylist. That's actually not her mom in the video. And Shabria says in her post that she comes from great parents. Like, it's not coming from her parents that her parents are saying this to. So who knows where it's coming from? Yeah, if it's from school.
Whew. Y'all breathing?
Oh,
Yeah.
I was heavy.
I remember that. I remember when that came out. I think every Black woman, I think every Black child person can identify with that in some level of the whole idea of just rejection, you know?
And this is where it starts when
Absolutely.
we're young. What did you say, Shania?
Well, what is ironic to me is the people who are lifting up this story. I think it's good and ironic at the same time because it's lifted up by colonizers who actually perpetuate the same myth in most other stories they would do. And so for them to lift up the opposite of the narrative they would normally perpetuate is so interesting to me. And so it's great on one hand, but I hope that they continue that type of energy with other stories that they would lift up, where they would highlight someone like a Kim Kardashian or another atypical person who is white or fair skinned, or and what Hollywood classify in a typical body shape. It doesn't look like this child Ariana, or even Ariana Grande, who I'm sure this child is named after, right? And so the colonizer lifted up this video.
because the next shot will be a red carpet.
This is what I'm saying. Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
That's why it's our responsibility. Yeah, but it's our responsibility to keep building each other up and to bring light, bring this stuff to the forefront. And I wanted to dedicate this episode to all the beautiful, I have to write it down because I got so emotional, all the beautiful little girls and little boys who don't see their beauty, for all the little boys and girls who grew up but are trapped in their adult bodies, still searching to find true love. God made you with all the love you need. Dig it up from the ashes and begin loving yourself.
And that's a process. It can take years to love that little Ariana that's in all of us, especially being people of color, that it's in a society that says otherwise, that we hear it otherwise, we see it plastered otherwise all the time. And what the dichotomy of that is that it's you hear that phrase that says they want our rhythm but not our, what is it? They want our rhythm but not our blues.
But not our blues.
Like they want the Brazilian butts, which really isn't Brazilian.
No.
Those booties aren't Brazilian. We know whose booties those are. Because I got one of them. And it ain't Brazilian. It's from Brazil.
But remember that they took more of us to Brazil than they did.
Thank you. So we know where those booties come from.
Huge black population.
Brazil is African. We know that.
Are hidden.
Thank you, Will.
Right. Let me ask. Someone sent me a message. She specifically asked these questions and wanted us to talk about it. How do you love yourself? What does self-love look like? I am learning this at 53, but I'm being honest, I haven't a clue. And it's past time to get on loving me. I know the cliche answers, but I would like to go deeper than cliches. And I know women need to hear it as well as men.
Can I just intervene real quick and challenge us to maybe think about not speaking always in the binary of men and women?
Okay, I like that.
Thank you.
Yes.
How do we do
that?
How could we do that?
So the question is, can you repeat the question?
How do you love yourself? What does self-love look like? Going beyond the cliche answers and going deeper.
Right.
There was something that said something that was very binary at the end.
Right. I intentionally left that out because you did. Okay, so I'll read it when she said it. And I know women need to hear it.
Gotcha.
So what I'm saying is the question doesn't need the binary. It exists on its own without it. Because there are people who don't fall into the binary category.
Right.
Well,
make it all inclusive.
I know in our human existence, for me, self-care has been about self-evolution and self-actualization. And self-care oftentimes did not feel like self-care at all. It hurt. It felt like sitting in my own stuff. It felt like hearing the truth when I didn't want to hear it. It felt like sitting in my shadows in the corners of the room where the dust is. The places where we kind of sweep things away and we don't want anyone to see. That's where the self-care was for me. Sitting in the places where the truth lies. That's when I really started caring for myself. When I really started learning the truth and pulling off the layers of who I was and why I was really the purpose of me being here. Who I really was is how I really became, really started diving into self-care, pulling out the self-delusions is when I became more aware of what self-care really was. Because for me, this whole self-care thing, you can get your nails done. And trust me, I'm all about nails done, lashes done, eyebrows. I'm very feminine in that way. Those things matter to me. Right. But you can get all those things done if you want to. But if you're still self-delusional in your self-care, you're not really self-caring.
Not at all.
You got to get into the corners of your room. You have to sit in your shadows, and you really have to do that work of telling the truth about yourself. And for me, that's what self-care is, doing that work.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. Anybody else want
Thank
to add
you.
to that?
Well, self-care is something I think you learn. Sometimes if you're lucky enough, you get taught how to value yourself, and thus you kind of walk through the door of adulthood with a sense of how to take care of self because you've been instilled with the values. I was just thinking as I was watching Ariana, I wish that every Black parent knew how important it was to, I hate to say arm our children preschool, before all of that, before they walk out that door the first time to face the world that they don't really know anything about, to understand how valuable and important and beautiful they are. So I wish that was just kind of par for the course. And sadly, though, some of that damage, the negative reinforcement, comes from those very same parents and people around them, because they're only doing what they've been taught. So learning how to self-care kind of comes either from your environment or from, like you said, years of either being tired of being treated a certain way and then learning your own value, or from just kind of an organic awareness that comes about sometimes as you get older. Sometimes we grab hold of it once we been out in the world and we do what we need to do to take care of ourselves. Other times it takes hard lessons to get us there, and oftentimes it comes with a lot of pain and a lot of experiences that would tend to make you less able to do so, to take care of yourself. Then there are those of us who never learn because the sense of self is not there. It never has been there. You have people who are followers and who identify with groups and things that they are a part of versus having a sense of self-identity.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can't have self-care without self-identity.
And self-love.
Yeah.
Because that's the main focus, is loving yourself. Because when you love yourself, you will care.
Right.
Yourself. Like Anita was talking about, we get our nails done, we go shopping, we go to the gym, and we're working on our bodies and we're building that up, but we're not really taking care or loving our true selves. We see the beauty in who we are.
Well, it came along really late in life, well, relatively late in life for me to understand, because as a child, I was the kid that was the weird kid, the little boy, quiet kid in the corner. People picked on me and all that kind of stuff. So not until maybe a little bit into college or thereafter did I understand my value just for the fact that God created me. Foremost, let's start there. I'm here with a purpose. So that in and of itself, and you are not like me. No one else can be like me.
Right.
So that's my self-worth. So from there, I built on that to create more self-love, where I stopped allowing other people to define my worth.
There you go.
So you get in a relationship, somebody rejects you, or you have a bad breakup, or whatever might happen to be, you have setbacks in your career, instead of thinking, man, what did I do wrong? Okay, well, I'll look at everything, but at the end of the day, I'm still me. So maybe it's just me being a better me, or maybe they were just not a good enough of them. So whatever.
Good stuff. Thank you. Shania or Will, you have anything to add to that?
Well, I have to admit that when I first saw that video, the first thought that popped into my head was that this child has heard somebody in her home or somebody who's very close to her say that. And I noticed that they made they made an effort to say, "Oh no, she comes from good parents." Okay, it was almost like a disclaimer,
Right,
because
right.
typically, if we, just moving around in the world, I have heard parents say horrendous things to their children in public. So what are you saying in private?
Right.
And a lot of that,
Right.
and a lot of that internalized stuff comes from within the home or the family dynamic, or somebody has said something. Sit your little dumb butt down. Sit your little ugly self down. You better not touch nothing in this store. I'm gonna smack your little.
Uh-oh.
That, I mean, I have children who are younger, teenagers now. But when they were younger, one of the things that I remember, I would take them to like story time at the library or something like that. And I have, just because my ex-wife and I were older, we kind of adopted this thing where we don't yell. Like, because my parents did it to me, and my parents were older, so you don't yell. So you have to have a dynamic. So the dynamic starts with very low. And it's a very specific type of language that I use with them, and it's never. I don't talk down to my kids, stuff like that. But if I raise my voice or if I go to a certain tone, they'll understand that, okay, a line has been crossed. But I would hear other parents say stuff, and I'm just looking like,
right.
I'm outspoken, so I'll just be like, what is wrong with you?
Right.
Like, why are you talking to? Because I'll never forget, and the reason I brought that up is I took my kids to a story time, and the kids were a little unruly. They weren't really listening to the lady who was reading the story. And so Trevor and Lola were up in it, trying, and I was like, boy and girl, and we called them boy and girl. So I was like, boy and girl, shh.
Binary.
But like that tone of voice, like boy and girl, shh. They come and sit, and they shushed and they sat. And this sister looked at me, and she had been yelling at her son, and but she was being demonstrative about it. It's like she doesn't really do this I could tell. You just doing this because we're out in public and your kid is clowning. So she said to me, and I'll never forget this. She says, "Excuse me, could you speak to my son and tell him to sit down? Because he doesn't have a father in his life.
Wow.
And he needs to hear that voice." And I said, "Sister, I can't help you with that." I said it doesn't work like that. And and so when I hear a child, and especially when she started crying, that reaction, like that cry hit me in the gut, because that was pain. That was an expression of pain. That was an expression of somebody, even as a child. What is she, 4 maybe? That's somebody who had already internalized that type of pain.
Yeah.
It's so matter of factly.
Yeah.
And then when the sister was speaking into her, it was like like I said, I get the whole disclaimer. Oh, she has good parents. But I'm like, what about the auntie? What about the grandma? Because somebody.
It could be her classroom, though. It could be the classroom. It's what she's watching on TV. It's YouTube. It's the billboards on TV. Because I'm telling you, for being a mother of dark-skinned children, and knowing that their father is very affirming. I'm very affirming of their appearance, super affirming. They still get it. They're still seeing it on YouTube. They're still seeing the Kim Kardashians. As much as you try to project, look at my wall. I mean, that's just one wall, and as much as you try to project images of the beauty of who they are and where they come from and their culture, there's still this counterculture that says, not quite. It's not really enough, because you got to be a little bit lighter, a lot lighter. Your hair has to be a little bit straighter, a lot straighter, and this and that. And there's still this counterculture that still confuses them in their image and the skin that they're in,
Yeah.
But I do understand there's someone around them is saying that she's ugly.
I mean, she said it so confident. She said that with confidence.
She said it.
Matter of
someone
fact,
said it to her. Yep, someone said it.
She's like,
Sure.
I was like, wait, I had never seen that before, and I stumbled on it.
Oh,
And listen to this, like, and I was listening to how the hairstylist was affirming to her, because like we need the art of communication. We need to learn the art of communication, because as she was affirming to this little girl, I don't know, it might have been her own child that came in, and the way she was telling the shut up. Right. I was like, whoa. Yeah. But they're not even conscious of that. Right. You know what I mean?
I can't restart my video. I don't know why.
Oh, I don't know if Tobias, is that something you can do? You can fix on your end?
Yeah, I mean, I did. It is ironic that, like, as she's speaking into this child, be quiet, right. Shut up, boy.
Right, exactly. And that's all a part of building up self-esteem, the way you talk to your children.
The other part, I question.
Henry, I don't know what's happening. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I can't. Not that I'm trying to tear that whole video apart or anything like that, or dissect it. Why would they videotape me?
Yeah, she was live. Okay. It looked like she was live already.
Yeah, she was live.
Maybe she was demonstrating how she did her hair. That's
exactly.
Because I was wondering about that too.
Okay.
Because I think she was getting some kind of lock maintenance or something. The baby had locks. She had locks.
I mean, it is my middle daughter had locks for many years, and it is interesting how even among our own community, how that's looked like. She had locks from 5 to she's 14 now, so they just took them down. She has this big giant afro. Mm-hmm. And I remember when she started at a new school, this little girl literally walked up to her, and she's just like a new girl, and she walks up to Lola and she looks her up and down, and Lola's tall, so she looked her up and down, and she was like, is that your hair? And Lola was like, well, yeah. She's like, no, them are braids. And she was like, no, these are locks. And she started explaining to her, these are locks. At the time, I still had locks. So she's like, my mother has locks, my father has locks. So then she looked at it, she's like, this your daddy? And she was like, yes. Like, why you keep that? And I'm looking like, who is this guy? And then she's like, your mama must be white.
Oh, wow.
And so Lola was like, no and yes. And so the girl, but she was conditioned. So you're right, Anita, this could come from school. Because this girl was picking at Lola, but she didn't know what she rolled up on.
Right.
You know.
I was gonna say that doesn't sound like a conversation Lola would
Well, the funny thing is, so literally the next day, I guess it was her grandmother, some older lady. The same little girl walks up, and she, like, here she go right here. And the woman looks Lola up and down, and she's like, oh, that is her hair. And I was like, this was a topic of conversation.
It is. For Black folks, it is. Because, I mean, the proximity to whiteness is a big thing. It was a matter literally of white. It was a matter of literally life and death for us.
Yeah.
Right.
The proximity to whiteness.
She's like, oh, is her mama white? And I was like, yes and no. And she was like, well, what does that mean? I was like, she's biracial, but she's Black. And she was like, oh, that's why she got that pretty hair, that pretty hair color. And she's like, and I was just like, wow, really? And your kid is standing here?
Right.
Now y'all got good and bad hair playing in my head.
Right. But we haven't heard from Shania. Do you want to add to that?
So what part can I add to? You asked the question.
There was a lot. I know, we said a lot. Where would you like to go to?
What part? Well, I
got a feeling you got to go way back.
Yeah. You want me to read again?
No, I was going to answer the part that you said, what is self-care?
Or self-love?
Self-love. Yeah. I did want to address that part.
Sure.
So I think that what's important about self-love is the idea that something that Anita and Kearney both touched on is this idea. Am I saying your name right?
Henry.
It's like Kearney does.
Henry.
It's like Henry, but with a K, right? Henry.
Henry. I apologize. People say my name incorrectly all the time. I don't want to perpetuate that narrative.
I got it down now.
Henry. And so one thing I think is important is identity. Knowing who you are is the key to self-love. I think identity is the key to everything. That's why when we were captured and brought to this country, one of the most important things about keeping us in a state of perpetual chattel slavery was our identity being stolen and taken from us. That's how you keep a people in that mindset, is to take their identity. And so that is perpetuated even today with how Anita's talking about the images we see every day that keep our mindsets in a slavery, and in a sense of what is considered beautiful or what is considered the standard of how we're supposed to be in this world. I was talking to a friend of mine today about BMI, right? Even your BMI is based on a European standard of beauty.
Right.
So it don't even make sense for my chocolate body of what a BMI is. So I fuck that shit. And so, I don't even go by that.
So
body mass index, by the way. BMI is.
And so what's self-love? So my point is self-love starts with knowing who you are. And that does start with my connection to the divine, understanding that part of the reason why we don't have self-love, because we exist in a mindset that doesn't understand our connection to the divine. We exist in a dogma that church says that there's something wrong with us and we're dirty and filthy. But God says that we're created in God's image and we're fearfully and wonderfully created. We got to understand dogma versus the divinity. And so I can't be dirty and wrong and yet created in the image of God at the same time. You're beautiful, I'm gonna be dirty. I got celebrate Ash Wednesday and all of that. But I do celebrate the divinity that's in me and the beauty that God created me to be. And so once I understand my connection to the divine, understand my identity a little bit better, then I can understand my value, then I can understand my worth. Then things such as keeping my credit or cleaning up my credit. That's self-love. That's what's important. Standing up, understanding that we can't exist in a binary in this conversation and recognizing there are other genders means I'm standing up for myself. That's self-love.
That's right.
That's important. Learning the ability and the importance of saying no, even when sometimes I really, really want to say yes, but I know what's good for me is to say no to some things. That's self-love. Self-love is not always just taking a long bath and a nap, although that matters. Self-love exists in a whole lot of realms. And the totality of it starts with my understanding of my identity. And that identity is connected and rooted in my understanding of who I am connected to the divine. That's what I was going to answer.
Oh,
good stuff.
Went to the core.
Yep.
That went right to the core. Thank you so much.
Yes, indeed.
So for this woman's question, if she's watching, everything you just said, it's all good and it's accurate, but the mindset, like where can she start? You know what I mean? She's 53. So there's like some root. Besides therapy and all that we know, but the work that she has to do every day, like standing in the mirror and affirming yourself, huh?
You have to do real self-work. You have to do, and doing real self-work is you have to learn how to appreciate yourself. And you have to learn how to be kind to yourself. I struggle with that. I struggle with that deeply. Like, I am not nice to myself. I'm nicer now, but it took, my birthday's next week, so it took however old I am. So, no, but it was because I felt like it was selfish and self-centered to do that work until I realized that it wasn't. Like, because to me, I didn't want to be a narcissist but that gets into how you want to be perceived by other people, which actually has nothing to do with you, because that's only how they see the world. Well, Char, that goes back to that conversation we had several months ago about the 4 agreements.
Yes.
Narcissism is self-affirmation through the destruction of someone else's.
Right. But, once you get to the point of when you understand that what other people think of you or anything else has nothing to do with you, and has everything to do with how they perceive the world, it is liberating. Like if you can stay in that zone, it's liberating. And, and so that's one way. And I don't want to say your name wrong. Is it Cherie?
Shania?
Shania.
Or Shania.
Shania.
Sorry, my bad. Shoot. Shania.
No, because I'm nodding my head as she's speaking. Like, yeah.
Yes.
My DJ name is Bishop, and a lot of people call me Bishop.
Yes, and Shania did I'm being, what'd you say?
I have an organ.
You have your organ. Yeah.
But Shania, as
you got a bass player. Come on, Kenry, bring your bass out. We got Shaw. We can do some background.
I got to
We got a whole pseudo church.
But the thing about it is bishops. But you know what? It's funny because I could tell you preach.
Yeah.
But that's familiar to me.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things. Is like you were saying, in the traditional church, you're taught that you're a piece of garbage. I never agreed with that. When I was a kid, once you kind of come to your own awareness and they're preaching this stuff, and you sit up here listening like, wait, what? So I'm here for this person to stand up here and tell me I'm a piece of garbage. I ain't done nothing to nobody.
Money.
Huh?
Right.
Say again?
But they want your money.
Give them your money.
Right.
Yeah. And that, I hesitate because I think that as far as we're all black today, so it's an important part of our culture, and there's African distinctions that we have brought over into the way we worship. But one of the things that we have to understand is that the form of Christianity that slaves were taught was repressive because
it's colonized Christianity.
One of the things that you are is I tell you that you're lesser than. And because this is baked into that theology, then you don't even know, generations later, you don't know why you're telling people this. Well, like you said, except to keep that money coming in. But you don't know why, because I have to keep this hierarchy of I'm above you because I'm close to God, because I got a title and I'm the good talker, and you're the person who brings me the money. And in order for you to keep doing this, me, where all through the Bible it talks about, in the Quran and everybody, how we're all people, but we can't have that. So that's another major source of self-harm.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really look at, I'm sorry, well, yeah. But if you really look at some of the narratives, and there's so many accounts, there are so many accounts of our enslaved ancestors from their own mouths that will talk about how they weren't allowed to go to church. And the only times that they would be able to gather is if master or the overseer were there.
Right.
So we can even go far back and even say that this Christianity isn't even really Christianity, it's really white supremacy. We can go there.
It is
let's just go there and call it what it is.
It is spiritual. It's the spiritual arm of white supremacy.
Because what happens when you really start talking about Christianity, you're talking about justice. And so when you really start talking about justice, which we saw in the civil rights era, which we don't see anymore, what did they start doing? They started knocking off our leaders left and right.
Well, they start paying.
I disagree with that because you didn't really see it as much in the civil rights era. You've seen it more so in the second generation of civil rights era, which you would call the Black Lives Matter era. And
right now,
era, you still saw a docile, a watered down version of it to a degree. I'm not going to say everybody, to a degree. But what I would say is that you're absolutely right. What we live in is a perpetual cycle of post-traumatic slave syndrome, where we do practice white supremacy culture as our religion. You're 100% correct.
In this country, absolutely.
Well, first of all
around the world, though,
Christianity was never called Christianity in the Bible. I mean, it was maybe two references.
Jesus wasn't a Christian.
No, right. So
Jesus, like what?
You know,
I'm a Christian.
it was only what 50 years after Christ that Paul was writing letters to the church, like y'all messing up, messing up what y'all doing. So anytime you create an institution that involves humans, it's going to get tainted. And no matter what it is, he had a hard time keeping those 12 disciples in line. They were tripping. They were right there with them, seeing everything happen. So, 50 years down the line, you create a church, you're going to have people who see the benefits of what church means, which is a means to control other people.
Yeah.
But I think that we can all agree that it seems like something that jumps out for us as a part of self-care and self-love is reconciling spirituality. Like, I think we all touched on that instinctively. There's a part of it that your spirituality can't be against you.
Right. And I think that's why I even though I am the most harshest critic of the church, I think you cannot throw away the totality of what church is, because there's something to be said for the communal nature of fellowship that happens. There's a reason why
absolutely
has historically been a foundation for Black culture.
Black culture, absolutely.
But there's something about the communal aspect of it that we appreciate. It's a place that births our music, that births
culture, art,
that births a deep-rooted sense of who we are births a part of our fashion, our hairstyles,
even American culture and period. American culture.
There is American culture. I mean, you're right. There is no Jesus without justice. There is no justice without Jesus. And well, there is justice without Jesus, but there is no Jesus without justice. And so there is a part there, but there is no throwing away the essence of what true church is. There is a throwing away of what church has become, because that's bullshit. And I say that in the fullness of being Reverend Leonard ordained twice in 2 different places. And so that what church has become is bullshit. But the essence of what koinonia is, there's something to that.
Yeah, well, that's something to that. And no matter what religion, no matter what, there's something to the gathering of people when there's a oneness. There's power in that.
Yes.
You can put that in any. I think that's just what quote unquote like a kingdom principle.
And it's the attraction to that innate power that comes from God that attracts people who want power over people. So they try to channel that power of that community, that gathering, that into something that they can
go upstairs
use. And so it's just, sadly, it's just human nature. There's always going to be somebody who wants to take advantage of power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. That whole
well, it's tribalism.
Right. And there is power in it. I mean, you take out the sound. Sometimes what you see at the Church of God in Christ looks just like what it in Korea, and looks just like it does at a Yoruba gathering.
Yes.
All 3 different places of the world will look exactly the same if you cut the sound.
Yeah, we so black. We blackity black. No matter where we put us, we black.
There's a brother,
the divine essence that rests in us.
Yeah.
There's a brother that I interact with on Facebook who he's very traditionally religious, and I made the point that shouting, dancing in the spirit, all of these things, that's very African.
Yes.
I was like, it's completely African, and I was just like, that's African, and
it is.
And we friends, and he was mad at me. No, it's not. And and I was like, what white man told you that? Like, no. And he was like, oh no, I talked to my pastor about this, and that's not true. And I was like, I probably have as much religious education as your pastor does, and there's a cultural and I gave him some resources. I was like, here, read this, and tell me what this is. What do you see? And like you said, you change the sound. It's the same thing. But
same thing.
Because white supremacy is a major factor as far as our self-esteem as Black people. And like you said, post-traumatic stress disorder, changes you at a cellular level. Things. I just came from the doctor. I just went to a doctor's appointment. I have to advocate for myself as a patient because I got some stuff going on health-wise, and this guy is just nodding his head like, yeah, oh yeah, I'm sure, well, your blood pressure's okay. And I was like, nah, bro, this, and this, but I have to do this because I love myself enough to understand my health is a part of this.
That's right.
My mental health is now I will say that they did ask a lot of questions about that. Like, are you anxious? Are you depressed? But they also let me know, oh, well, we can give you some medicine. So I was like, so because I admit to anxiety and the times we live in, occasional depression because I'm a real human being, you got a pill for that.
Right.
It's Western medicine, though.
Why are you giving me that?
Yeah.
I don't need that.
I want to rename for us. It's not post-traumatic stress. It's RTTS, real-time traumatic stress. It does not end.
It's slave syndrome, though. It's not stress. It's slave syndrome.
Yeah. So,
but it is stressful, though. It's still heavy. It's still something that's still our body is still keeping the score. I'm like, I almost died delivering my children, and I had no reason for that. And there is documentation that says that Black women literally, it's like the Green Mile going into the delivery room, delivering children in this country, and there's no reason for that. Well, and that means any kind of Black woman. You can be a PhD, you can be wealthy, middle class, lower class. It doesn't matter. If you're delivering Black children, you're a Black woman delivering children in this country. You can die. Why is that? What are we carrying? What is that?
Anita, you know that Pittsburgh has one of the worst
black
mortality in the country.
And I was almost one of them. Easy.
Black mothers die in Pittsburgh more than they die in most any other place in the country.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
I'm full aware of it.
I got something to play. We have 10 minutes left. I want to play this really quick. We're off. See, we can't even have a part 1, part 2, because this is gonna be a continual conversation. Because my thing is, in the community, we have to empower each other.
Yes, I saw this. I love this. I shared this. Yes, I shared this.
Did you share this too? Yeah.
Yeah.
All raindrops have one job, is to work their way back home. To the river, to the stream, to the ocean. When we born, we have one thing to do. God don't give a damn about a PhD like your daddy got, like your mama got. You rich, you poor, you can read, you can't read. God has one law. When you come here, the only thing you have to do is work your way back home. You better be as clean when you get back as you was when I put you here. You're not born a racist, or a bigot, or a thief, or a murderer. You pick that up on the way. It's just that simple. Now y'all play all the games you want, get hung up in all the churches you want, be full of hatred, let somebody reduce you below your dignity and don't know you violating the universal God. Let a bunch of thugs control your food, a bunch of hoodlums control your education, everything. They got engineered animals that you put on your table every day, and America's the only country don't have to put on the label that they've been cloned and you think you free. All raindrops have one job, is to work their way.
Woo!
That was Dick Gregory. So powerful. Have you read his book?
I have not.
Oh.
I met Brother Baba Dick.
Really?
Oh my God! It's a treasure picture that I have. It was a World Peace Day, and he was being honored. And I was playing with choir or something like that, and I look up and I see Dick Gregory, so I ran over to him, and the first thing he says to me, because a lot of people there were Asian, and well, we were the only 4 Black people there, but he and I, so I embraced him. Nice to meet you. And he was like, man, it's like a damn Godzilla movie. he said, man, you a King Kong. And I was hollering.
He said, me and you are King Kong?
He said, me and you are King Kong and Godzilla. And all the rest of these. But it was just, but his spirit, he reminded me of my daddy. Like immediately. I was like,
what an honor. What a moment.
Oh, yeah.
Real quick, Woo! I wish this conversation didn't have to end, but it's not going to end. Can we, all of us, just take a moment and let's just teach? Because it seems like we've all been on a journey to build ourselves up from the traumas that we've experienced, whether from, like, you know, Anita always talks about it in our DNA, and you know what I'm saying? Like, you bring that up a lot, and I never even thought about it like that before. But I mean, things are handed down that you're like, why am I going through all this? There are reasons that you don't even know why.
Same reason you have high blood pressure.
Yeah. So teaching, you know, we are examples, and we're teaching our tribe, because I feel we have to build each other up. We have to, because nobody else is going to do it for us. And I just want us all to just say maybe one sentence, what it is that you love about yourself. I'll start. I love that in spite of all I've been through and having to find my way without guidance from my parents, because I was abandoned, I have this tenacious spirit, and I'm so connected with the divine that when the divine speaks to me and gives me instructions, I follow. And I do it. I take those steps to heal.
Okay.
I love the fact that I'm always trying to learn something new. And I'm open to change and expansion.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I love the fact that in spite of the transformations that come, that I remain hopeful in it all.
Beautiful.
Love the fact that I'm exactly who I am, and I'm in the place that I need to be, and that God created me with empathy and trusted me with the gifts that he gave me. And even through the challenges and the pain and everything else that have come along with that, I'm glad to be me.
Beautiful.
I love the fact that I am Shania D. Leonard, because there is no one like me, because if you met me, you'll never forget me. And I love the fact that I am an intelligent, divinely created, and very wise, very creative, sexy ass, funny ass motherfucker.
Just when I thought we was gonna go high.
And that was your fault.
You know, it's funny you say that, because hey, you know, who was it? Jesus's disciples. Who was the cussing disciple?
Cutting ears off.
And Penny
that
said,
would be Shania.
Build my church. And Peter got 3 books.
Right.
You know,
somebody else get 3 books.
I gotta ask though, when you preach, do you cuss?
Anita was my minister.
Right.
Because if you do, I'm coming to church. Where are you at?
Well, you should definitely come anyway. Because let me tell you, Shania is an amazing, and I'm not even just saying this because this is my really dear friend. This is a really close. They are a soulmate to me. I will say that. They are a really great communicator, an amazing communicator of spirit. I'll say that. But they be just right here cussing. Right here.
You're like, these motherfuckers.
Right here. I'm like, go ahead, do it. Right here.
But God is not threatened. God is not worried. But
God cusses at me. I don't know what kind of relationship y'all got with God, but God cusses at me.
Okay. Well, Shania, so we have 3 minutes. I want to use this moment, Rev, and ask you to seal this moment with a prayer.
Oh, churchy.
No, I'm not being churchy. Because what we're doing is,
come on in here. Hey,
come on.
Lord.
Yeah. I'm serious right now. Why can't they? Why?
You brought it on yourself, Char.
We are doing.
God have the way.
You know, they're so unruly. We are doing We're teaching, we're leading, we're leaders, and we're leading our tribe back to their true self. We can't do that within ourselves alone. We need the divine to guide us and to show us how to, like, I'm tired of seeing, I'm trying not to cry, because that video of that little girl, that thing went right through me.
Why are you trying not to cry? What's wrong with crying?
Right.
I get ugly. But anyway, but I want to pray over, I want to set it out in the atmosphere. I want to get this out in the atmosphere that one, Anita, Shania, Kennery, Will, CHAR, Tobias, our energy, our spirit, when we touch, when we come in contact with our people, because we got to build them up. We got to build each other up.
Yeah.
And that's what this is about. So just set that out there into the universe. All right. And we're going to
just pray. You just prayed.
I know.
You just prayed.
I was led.
You just
Shania is the red.
You spoke it into the atmosphere.
Amen.
Shania is the red.
I just said, we claim it right now in Jesus' name.
Amen.
That was yet already said and manifested shall be done. Amen.
Amen.
Amen and Ashe.
Amen. Amen. Ashe.
Because remember, it don't have to be fancy words. God,
that's right.
A lot of words. God don't. Yeah. Like, you shut up and get to the point.
It's one of the worst things ever invented. That's a whole.
That's a whole nother. That's a whole nother.
It's like, stop saying all my names. Gosh, we get to the point.
Thou hast thou.
Henry, we're minstrels. We ain't musicians no more.
All right, fam.
Am I supposed to come in here juggling?
The lady of the valley, right, going in star.
Makeup.
Right.
Right.
All right, fam. We're gonna stick to the time. It's 8:00. We have a very filling.
And just that's white supremacy culture that cuts it off exactly at 8. I just
go.
White man at time.
That literally is one of the key components of white supremacy culture.
Time.
Oh Lord.
Cutting off the time. But
so
Char's over here thinking she has to edit all this. That's what Char's thinking.
No. I don't mind, because I love conversations. Like, conversations are healing. I mean, so much happens when we can sit and listen, sit at each other's feet and just listen. You learn from one another.
I'm going to eventually have that place where, like, the Black Renaissance kind of place where we can come and have conversation. Creative, we can talk like they did in Paris in the 20s. They just gathered and let the energy and the ideas flow. Eventually, I'm going to have that space.
Come sit at my feet.
Make sure make sure the
well, my production team is reminding me
the feet are cornless, bunionless, and odorless.
All
the lists.
I love you guys. I love you all so much. Appreciate you. Listen, we're gonna have to pick this up, because this feels unfinished. I don't think it'll ever be finished, but
right. Sorry, it's never finished. Whatever it is,
never finished. So I'll be in touch. I'll be in touch. I mean, if some of y'all want to stick around and talk some more, we can turn off everything else and we can discuss, or we can pick it back up another time.
No,
all right.
I got a minute.
You got a minute?
Can you turn this off live stream? Bye, everybody.
Yes. Bye. Let me turn this off.